Hey guys, what is up? You were probably wondering where I've been for the last 6 months and why I haven't posted anything. And well, I have two answers for you. One is that I got COVID day one of shooting our first episode and we had to stop production. But the bigger answer here is that it took me 6 months to get over something that happened in January. Something so traumatic that I even considered ending my own life. And today, I finally feel ready to share with you what that was and how it nearly destroyed me. Okay, so before I get into this, let me just say that I don't want to scare anyone off. If you think this topic is too depressing or upsetting, then please just click away now, because this is going to be a very real and honest conversation about some really difficult things. This isn't a sponsored video. No one asked me to talk about this. I just think it's important that people know who I am outside of YouTube. Know if I can help at least one person by sharing my story, then it will all be worth it. So back in January, I was contacted by someone who worked with us on our first episode asking if I could do another virtual life show with them. Now, for those of you who don't know what a virtual life is, basically it is when you set up a live stream in VR, and then you can interact with your audience inside of a virtual world. So I accepted the offer, and on January, I went online to set up the virtual life. And this is the first one that we did in 2022. So I got into the headset. I logged onto the platform and I saw that there were already a lot of people waiting in the lobby for me. So I started talking with them, and then shortly after, the host joined and he said that he had a special announcement to make. So he got everyone's attention, and he told us that the CEO of the company would be joining us, and that they had a huge announcement to make. So everyone started getting really excited. The CEO joined the party and they told us that they had a big project that they'd been working on for months that they were finally ready to announce. And they dropped the biggest bomb ever. They told us that they were partnering with a major social media platform to create an exclusive virtual world that would be available only to paying members of their platform. Now at this point, I had been on the platform for years, and I had always been paid very well for any work that I had done, so I wasn't worried at all. Then they announced that the doors to this new world would be opening exclusively to the people who were in the live stream when they made the announcement. And I thought that meant that I would get access to the private beta, but it didn't. It meant that I had access to the members-only area. The host immediately left the party. I tried to leave, but I couldn't. I was frozen. Then the CEO reached out and grabbed my hand and pulled me aside and said that we needed to talk. I remember this vividly. My hands were shaking. I felt sick to my stomach. I couldn't speak. I looked over at the host and he was crying. I'll never forget that look on his face. I mean, he literally looked like he wanted to throw up. And then the CEO told me that due to unforeseen circumstances, they would no longer be paying any of us to do any more virtual lives. We would no longer be employees. We would no longer receive payments. There would be no more work. That was it. Our contract was terminated immediately. And the worst part of all of this was that I knew that the platform would go down in a few hours for scheduled maintenance, and that once it came back up, the members-only area would be taken down, and everyone who had joined after the announcement would lose access forever. So I had a few hours to try and get people to join before the world disappeared. I had tried everything I could think of. I went to every single group I'd ever been in. I messaged everyone I'd ever talked to, posted everywhere I could post. I begged people to come to the platform, and I explained what was happening. I was freaking out. I was crying. I couldn't stop shaking. I kept thinking about how I was going to pay my rent. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I didn't leave my apartment for days. I didn't take care of myself. I barely made it through the next few months, and I don't say this to make anyone feel bad. I say this because I want you to understand what was going on in my head. I put everything I had into building something from nothing. I put my whole heart and soul into that platform. And when it all came crashing down, I lost my passion for everything. Now, I know that some of you might think that this is a petty or insignificant thing to be so upset over, but you have no idea how much that platform meant to me. It gave me a sense of belonging. It gave me a job. It gave me the ability to support myself. It gave me friends. I have met some of the most amazing people through that platform, and I would untrade those friendships for the world. And I know that some of you might think that I should have seen this coming, that I should have known better than to trust them. And maybe you're right. Maybe I did deserve this. But I just don't think that's the point. The point is that I went from having everything that I could ever want to absolutely nothing in a matter of minutes. I spent weeks feeling sorry for myself. I spent months barely leaving my house. I couldn't bring myself to work on any of my projects. I just couldn't. Then slowly, very slowly, I started to pull myself together. I had to. I had to for myself. I had to for my friends. I had to for my family. I'm not going to lie and say that it was easy, because it wasn't. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But eventually I got back into a routine. Started working out again. I started eating healthy foods. I reconnected with some friends, and then I started creating again. And this video is proof of that. Now, I do normally talk about these things on YouTube because I'm usually pretty good at hiding the way I feel. I've always been able to keep myself together when the cameras are on, but that doesn't mean that I was doing okay. In fact, quite the opposite. I was falling apart. I was breaking. And I think it's important for people to see that behind every smile and laugh, there could be someone struggling with something that you can't see. And I know that some of you might be thinking that this is a privileged problem to have, that losing a job is a small price to pay for being a content creator, but it's not that simple. I love creating videos and I love making people laugh, but I also need money to survive. I also have bills to pay. I also have responsibilities. I also get sick and tired of people telling me to just snap out of it and that everything will be fine. Because sometimes it's not. Sometimes you do need help. Sometimes you do need to take a break. Sometimes you do need to focus on yourself. And it's important to remember that even people who make videos about smiling and laughing and being happy sometimes need help. I'm not saying that I was completely broken. I'm just saying that I was hurting. And if you're watching this and you're feeling the same way, then please know that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to take a step back and focus on yourself. It's okay to not be okay. Thank you so much for listening. I know that this is a serious topic, and I don't want to make light of it by adding jokes or quirky transitions or anything like that. So this is just going to be a normal outro. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.